I'm Dr. Robin Koslowitz, YouTube's post-traumatic parenting expert. Have you ever been told you're too much? You need to tone yourself down? Perhaps as a woman, you've been told that you're not feminine when you're so loud, that you need to step back and give other girls space, that people don't like loud girls. Perhaps you've been told that your personality just isn't okay and you need to change it. That sound like you? Is it something that really has both enraged you, but also deep down inside a little bit you worry that maybe you're right, and maybe those people are right, and maybe you are doing things wrong, and maybe you're not acting the way you're supposed to? And it's been really confusing, and this has been going on since you were a really little kid. I want to explore the origins of people pleasing and the people pleasing messages young women get using a book that I really dislike, The Rainbow Fish. And we're going to talk about how this is a metaphor for young girls, especially gifted young girls, psychological development. But first, if you like this content, if you want to know about what does the rainbow fish have to do with people pleasing, and what does the rainbow fish have to do with what it's like to grow up as a traumatized little girl, and what that means for that little girl as she grows into adulthood, click subscribe below because this is the kind of stuff we talk about here every week. So I don't want you to miss another episode. Hi, I'm Dr. Robin Koslowitz, YouTube's post-traumatic parenting expert. Today we're going to talk about people pleasing and how girls are taught to participate in our own gaslighting and in our own lowering of power simply because by people who are well-meaning, using the book Rainbow Fish as an analogy. People look at the book Rainbow Fish and like, it's such a lovely book. It teaches kids how to share. And oh, how terrific and wonderful. But really? Let's read Rainbow Fish and see. So the rainbow fish. A long way out into the deep blue sea, there lived a fish. Not just an ordinary fish, but the most beautiful fish in the entire ocean. His scales were every shade of blue and green and purple with sparkling silver scales among them. The other fish were amazed at his beauty. They called him Rainbow Fish. Come on, Rainbow Fish, they would call. Come and play with us. And this is what it's like to be that girl, that loud, unruly girl who has a lot to say and to give and to contribute. In early childhood, everybody wants to be her friend. And in early childhood, she hasn't learned yet that society really doesn't like it when women are too vocal. And society really doesn't like it when girls tell the truth. She hasn't learned that yet. So she's just too busy enjoying being her own beautiful, glittery self. So she glides past all the fish and she's beautiful with all her lovely scales. One day, a little blue fish followed after him. Rainbow Fish, he called, wait for me. Please give me one of your shiny scales. They are so wonderful, and you have so many. And this is where the devil's bargain starts to be struck. Because give up of yourself. Don't be so sparkly. Don't be so loud. Don't be so showy. Don't be so ostentatious. Give some to everybody else. Diminish yourself. But Rainbow Fish says, no. You want me to give you one of my special scales? Who do you think you are? Cried Rainbow Fish. In other words, she has boundaries. Get away from me. Shocked, the little blue fish swam away. I mean, yeah, girls are not allowed to get upset, especially not when you cross their boundaries. They're supposed to be like, oh, sure, no problem. Here, I will cut into myself. If you've ever descaled a fish, you descale a fish, you cut too deep, the fish bleeds. This is not a good thing when you take away a fish's scales forcibly. But sure, cut into yourself, make yourself bleed. Don't just give until it hurts, give once it hurts. Keep giving, because after all, you are Rainbow Fish and this is your job. Shocked, the little blue fish swam away. He was so upset he told all his friends what happened. Let's shame her. From then on, no one would have anything to do with the rainbow fish. They turned away when he swam by. I like the way in the book they gender rainbow fish as male, but this is a very, very, very familiar story to little girls who grow up. And they turn away, they shun him, right? Because he dared say the terrible, horrible, bad magic word of no. What good were the dazzling, shimmering scales with no one to admire them? Now he was the loneliest fish in the entire ocean. One day he poured out his troubles to the starfish. I really am beautiful. Why doesn't anyone like me? Because perhaps they've taught you that being liked is the most important thing. It's more important than self-expression. It's more important than being yourself. It's more important than having your interests, even if your interests don't jive with what the other girls are interested in. Yeah, more important is being liked. I can't answer that for you, said the starfish, but if you go beyond the coral reef to the deep cave within, you will find the wise octopus. Maybe she can help you. So let's see what the wise octopus, the next adult to let Rainbow Fish down, does. Rainbow Fish found the cave. Finally, he meets the octopus. I have been waiting for you, said the octopus with a deep voice. The waves have told me your story. This is my advice. Give a glittering scale to each of the other fish. You will no longer be the most beautiful fish in the sea, but you will discover how to be happy. So cut into yourself. Give away your most precious gifts, right? Don't raise your hand so often in class, even if you know the answer, because the other kids might think that you're too smart and be intimidated and they won't want to be your friend. Don't ask that question that might stump the teacher because the other kids really like that teacher. And if you stump the teacher, they're going to get mad at you. Don't say what you want to be when you grow up. If you want to grow up to be a doctor, say you want to be a nurse, right? Don't set a boundary when people ask you for things, even things that are precious and beautiful and tender and important to you. Just give up of yourself. Strip yourself of everything that makes you you for the sake of being liked. This is the advice that many girls get. This is the advice that the wise octopus gives the rainbow fish. Instead of the wise octopus saying, hey, rainbow fish, swim in another ocean where there are fish who will like you and admire you, other fish with just as many shiny scales as you have. And if you go swim in that ocean, you'll make plenty of friends because there will be people who are just like you. When I was in elementary school, I got those messages a lot. Don't raise your hand so much. Let the other girls answer. Don't use words with such big vocabulary because you're just trying to be a show off. I literally remember in sixth grade, I had a teacher who said that to me. And the next time I wrote what we called a composition in sixth grade, like a little essay about something, I gave it to my mother and I asked her, could you take out all the big words and help me think of like littler words to put in? Because I don't want my teacher to call me a show off again. As opposed to that teacher saying, right now in this class, maybe you can raise your hand a little less, but you have some really good questions. So can you write them down and give them to me so I can answer them? And if I don't know the answer, I'm going to look them up. This was before Google. So like in a book called an encyclopedia, and I'll find you your answer. That's what a true teacher does. That's what a responsible teacher does. And if that teacher had said to me one day, you will grow up and you will swim away from this ocean and you will swim into an ocean called college and an ocean called graduate school. And there you will meet people who are weird like you in a wonderful way and think about all sorts of geeky thoughts and want to do research and study things and understand them. You just have to be patient and like survive sixth grade and middle school and high school a little, and then you'll get there. Right? Swim in the ocean where other fish are just like you. Do not strip yourself of everything that makes you special in this devil's bargain to be liked. Please don't do that. But this is what we tell little girls very often. So if you're a post-traumatic parent and you were raised and you're a people pleaser and you hate that in yourself, you don't want to be a people pleaser anymore. You want to own your power. You want boundaries. You want to be able to say no. Think about how honestly you came by that. Someone taught you to be a people pleaser, either very consciously in an effort to control you, like when you have narcissistic abuse, or very unconsciously in an effort to help you because you had a parent who thought, this kid's going to get bullied. This kid's going to suffer. I better teach this kid how to lower that intensity and tamp it down. And they're really trying to be protective, but instead the message is, don't be as you are, right? The exact opposite of what Mr. Rogers said, which is, I love you just the way you are, right? No, I don't like you just the way you are. You need to change then, and only then I will like you. And that might have come from a place of, I want to protect this kid. But how it lands on the child is, you are not okay the way you are. You need to strip away your scales and get rid of everything that makes you special. And then when instead of being an absolutely amazing version of you, you're a sad and pale imitation of everybody else, then we will like you. I can't. The rainbow fish started to say, yes, you can't. That's right. Do not do this. But the activist had already disappeared. Give away my scales, my beautiful shiny scales. Never. How will I ever be happy without them? Suddenly, he felt the light touch of a fin. The little blue fish was back. Rainbow fish, please don't be angry. But anger is the appropriate response when somebody breaks our boundaries. This is the anger guy from Inside Out. You're supposed to get angry when somebody violates your boundaries. When someone says, cut into yourself and harm yourself for my sake, you should be angry, and you should also swim away as fast as you can in the other direction. Rainbow fish wavered. I want one little scale. The rainbow fish wavered, one very small shimmery scale. He thought, well, maybe I won't miss just one. So that one time that you don't raise your hand, that one time that you let the mean girl say that mean remark to you and you laugh along even though you really don't find it funny. The one time you ask your mom to dummy down your paper so that the teacher doesn't call you a show-off. Slowly, it's one scale at a time. Carefully, Rainbow Fish pulled out his smallest scale and gave it to the little fish. Thank you very much. The little blue fish bubbled playfully as he tucked the shiny scale among his blue ones. Does he become her friend? No. He got what he wanted, so now he's going to go away. A rather peculiar feeling came over the rainbow fish. For a long time, he watched the little blue fish swim back and forth with his new scale glittering in the water. The little blue fish whizzed through the ocean with his scale flashing, so it didn't take long before the rainbow fish was surrounded by the other fish. Everybody wanted a glittering scale. Of course they did. The rainbow fish sheared his scales left and right, and the more he gave away, the more delighted he became. Well, he is indeed delighted. He is dimming his light, and he is lightening his storehouse of power. That's not a good thing. When the water around him filled with glimmering scales, he at last felt at home among the other fish. Finally, the rainbow fish only had one shining scale left. His most prized possessions had been given away. His self. And yet he was very happy. Of course he was. Because when you learn to people please, people sometimes are nice back. And sometimes you get that situation. You know, they're not kind necessarily, but they're nice. And you feel accepted and you feel part of things. You made the devil's bargain. And you also know that, and here's something that when people are undoing people pleasing, I heard this from a post-traumatic parent and it was so brilliant. When people pleasers stop pleasing people, people aren't pleased. It's a tongue twister. So before someone asks you to give away one of your scales, say that tongue twister 10 times fast. When people pleasers stop pleasing people, people aren't pleased. Say that 10 times fast, and then decide if you want to say yes or no. Because, yeah, they won't be pleased, but you get to hold on to your scales. Come on, rainbow fish, they called. Come and play with us. Here I come, said rainbow fish. Happily as splash, he swam off to join his friends. So, yeah, it is true. Give away your power. Give away your resilience, your sense of self, your joy, who you really are. Give away your voice. Carol Gilligan talks about this in a different voice, and she talks about this in so many of her books about teenage psychological development. And so many teenage girls are really taught to do this. Mute yourself, lower yourself in the eyes of the male gaze. Lower yourself so the other girls like you. Don't be yourself. Don't be too much, too loud. Just don't be yourself. Be anyone other than yourself. And sometimes it's the parents who are giving them this message. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't give up yourself to make other people happy. Don't. Because then you find you've given yourself away. I had a mom in a post-traumatic parenting class come to me and say, my whole life I thought that I was supposed to be selfless, and that's like the most feminine, wonderful, praiseworthy way to be. And now you're telling me to bring my whole self to parenting. How can I bring my whole self to parenting if I don't have a self? That's what rainbow fish is, giving away the self. Then you have no self. You are selfless, as opposed to bringing your whole self, your present self, all of your traits and characteristics and everything, the you-ness of you to your parenting and to your life. So my advice to rainbow fish is, hey, rainbow fish, go swim in another ocean where there are other rainbow fish just like you, where you're one rainbow fish amongst many and they get you. Go there. Because that's where you're going to find your people. So rainbow fish is really how we can understand the origins of people pleasing in the psyche and what to do about it. Because what you do about it is you think of rainbow fish. I like to say to people who are undoing people pleasing, you can give until it hurts, because that is something that you've been raised to believe is good, and that's something that's consistent with your values. That's great. You can't give once it hurts. Once it hurts, it's not giving. It's literally self-sacrifice, as in I'm taking a knife and putting it to my throat. That is not healthy. That serves no one. Can't bring your whole self to parenting if you've self-sacrificed. You can't bring your whole self to your friendships, to your life, to your marriage, to anything if you've given away yourself. Don't give away yourself. Don't be a pale imitation of everybody else. Be you in all your you-ness. And absolutely get angry when people try to tell you to give away yourself and go swim in the ocean where the other fish like you swim. There is an ocean like that. Might take some time, but you will find your ocean. If you like this content, please save, subscribe, share, comment below. Let me know if this metaphor holds up for you. If you've always disliked rainbow fish, but you didn't quite know why. If you have a completely different take on the rainbow fish story and why you like or dislike it. If you have another picture book that you'd like me to do a deep dive on, or another theory in psychology that you'd like me to use a picture book to analyze. So comment below and let me know. You can also, if this was frustrating because you really wish you could have had a conversation with me, you can always DM me on Instagram. You can find the post-traumatic parenting on Instagram at Dr. Kozlow with Psychology. That is where all the post-traumatic parents hang out. So you can DM me there so we can have a little bit more of a give and take. I go live every Thursday night so we can have a conversation about all things post-traumatic parenting, all things trauma, all things parenting. If you have very specific questions to ask me, I have a subscription on Instagram. It's only 99 cents a month because I never want cost to be a barrier for anybody to access post-traumatic parenting and our community. And if you like longer form audio, check out the Post-Traumatic Parenting Podcast, available wherever you get your podcasts. And of course, the Post-Traumatic Parenting book is coming out. It's due out in January of 25, so stay tuned for it. It is people like you who messaged me on this journey that are making the book possible. If you want very specific parenting guidance or very specific analysis of research studies, check out the Targeted Parenting blog that I write on Psychology Today. Until next time, see you next time.